Ohio State, the performance that they gave us against Wisconsin, this is what we expected all season after that slow start against Notre Dame.
Clint,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Hack.
or George. Yeah, I mean, I could jump right off it. I think
come on.
Wisconsin's had a ton of credit. To me, and it kind of proved it today, the beast in the West is going to be Minnesota.
Yep.
I think Wisconsin's kind of been holding that crown without a lot of contention.
Sure.
And I think just the inefficiency and inconsistency at quarterback play for them has really been the biggest issue, even going back into last year. It's continued into this year. When you're facing Ohio State, you have to play perfect. I said this to Josh Perry. We were talking on our show this week. Graham Mertz had to be 1,000% perfect in everything that he did and take advantage of every opportunity that he had. And Ohio State did not even let that happen. They are hitting their stride up there in Columbus, and really excited to see what comes out of that, especially with Michigan and Penn State kind of heating up as well. The East is always going to be interesting, but this is kind of what I expected heading into it. I think Wisconsin's gotten too comfortable. I think Minnesota's a really hungry football team, and bigger picture, that's kind of what it was more of proving that to me that today up there than really learning anything about Ohio State.
So I'm going to put a pin in Minnesota because we're going to get to them. But Clint, when it comes to Ohio State, Clint and Whit, what do you guys like about this team? Is it the versatility? Where did Stover come from? The guy that just played. He's played linebacker, defensive end, and now he's playing like this hybrid tight end position, and he's making big time plays. Ohio State, do you think they have too many weapons for other teams to stop them?
No, I don't know. You never have too many weapons. I mean, they're going to be hard to stop no matter what. But, I mean, look, when you look at Ohio State, right now I think everybody is going to be compared to Georgia in the country.
Yes.
In terms of, do you have the dudes? Do you have the weapons? Do you have the quarterback? Do you have the dudes to go in and legitimately compete with a Georgia football team? And I think that's what Ohio State's up against this point. Today was more about Ohio State for me than it was Wisconsin. This was a really good Wisconsin defense, or we thought it was. Statistically, it was, especially against the run. And Ohio State's rolled up 250 on them. And last time we saw Ohio State against a team that mattered, or a team that we all were interested in, it was Notre Dame, and they didn't show well. And so for them to go out there and put on an absolute show from Jump Street against Wisconsin, what we all think is a pretty solid defense, you go, okay, Ohio State is for real. They're clearly one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. And then you start looking into things like you're talking about, Felder, where you go, okay, do they have the dudes to keep up with Georgia? Do they have the dudes to go in there and legitimately compete with Georgia? And I think Ohio State took a step in the right direction today. I mean, they're missing one of their top guys, and other dudes just keep stepping up. So, yeah, it's a big day. It was a great day for Ohio State. If we're being honest, in terms of how they stack up against Georgia.
All right, Whit, you're watching this and you're seeing the quarterback play and you're watching the way that they're able to manipulate things. What do you like? What do you like? What thing stands out the most to you about this team?
The Buckeyes, they can afford any major loss. Just, I hate to say it, and I think I've said it multiple times. Their third string quarterback would be celebrated at Notre Dame right now. That's just how, should CJ Stroud roll an ankle and he's out 2 games, they don't panic. If Henderson should have a stinger in his shoulder, there's 2, 3, 4, 5 more running backs right behind him ready to go. Like they are so well-rounded. They ran for 250 tonight. They threw for 280. You saw some competitiveness. The game was out of bounds. I mean, it was gone. It was 45-7. Wisconsin gets a touchdown. Ohio State runs right back, gets another touchdown. But they're working on things. You could see screen packages going in. They tried to run their 4-minute offense early. They ran a 2-minute offense in another situation that they didn't really have to, because while we're beating you, we got monsters down the road we're getting ready for. So a lot of that's coaching. It's big picture thinking. And it's also telling the kids there are no days off. They didn't have their fastball against Notre Dame. They had some injuries. Then they battled a couple other games, and now they're starting to kind of catch their stride. Big blowout win, and it's still going.
All right, so I want you guys give me one sentence on this thing, because the biggest thing that I noticed in this football game, and George, you mentioned the 4-minute offense, the 2-minute package, and the screen packages. But the biggest thing that I noticed is early in the game attacking the middle.
Yep.
And then using Wisconsin's adjustment against them to create more space to the outside. Yep. So let's start with you, George. Then we'll go to Clint. Then we go to Hack. What does that do for you, like as a quarterback's coach, and then as guys that have played the quarterback position? Give me one quick sentence on that, because then we got to talk a little Minnesota.
It does everything, because only 3 or 4 schools in the country have a guy who can thread and seed the ball like that over the middle, down the middle. It opens up your whole book. You can't get pinned in.
There you go. Clint, what does it do? You come into the game, you know that you're going to attack the middle. You've been in practice all week. You come into the game knowing that, and it works. And then you see everything you got to the edge.
Well, it's a game of adjustments, man. I mean, if you got a team that's a middle open team, whether it's quarters or 2, you're going to attack the middle and for the most part, and you're going to try to run the football against a 2-high look with 2 on the roof. And the minute they swing to 1 on the roof, you're gonna attack outside. Hopefully, you got a good screen game. Hopefully, you got a good quick game. Hopefully, you got a good mid-range game where you're not just throwing low percentage balls down the field. But it's very simple. It doesn't matter what your game plan is. I mean, every offense in America has. We're going to attack the middle and we're going to run the football. Okay, they adjust. We're going to attack outside with screens and quick game. And I mean, the big thing there, and I know I'm over one sentence, Mike, but the big thing there is very simple. If you're doing that, then you're dictating the game offensively. So you're in a pretty damn good spot.
Hack, that's what I wanted to get to. What does it feel like when you're in that position where you get to dictate and tell everybody else what you're going to do?
Ohio State's one of the very few programs in the country that have the privilege to do that because of the things that George mentioned. Their 3rd string quarterback, their 5th string running back, their 7th string wide receiver is going to be somebody that can make plays across the field. So at the end of the day, to me, that's the beauty in Ohio State. And it ultimately comes down to how you want to approach that game and how you want to attack it, and then how you want to marry all of your offensive concepts to where you want to take advantage of your mismatches, whether it be personnel mismatches or just overall scheme mismatches, depending on coverage and things of that nature. So when you have the horses and the Jimmies and the Joes, makes it a lot easier to say, this is how we're going to start, or this is how we're going to go, and just kind of like Floyd Mayweather it, jab, 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 hook the whole way. When you got guys like that, as a coordinator, it's beautiful. I mean, you got the world's your oyster. So I think Ryan Day has that. He's done a great job of developing his roster, and those guys can go out and execute. So you can win without your fastball one day. You can, pretty much however you want to do it. It just comes down to how you game plan that week. We're dropping our merch.
We got to start calling Underwood Daddy Brad.
But I'm a big pod guy.
Breaking news. The Field of 68 has an online store, and it's your one-stop shop for the latest and greatest merch in college basketball and college football. You can find shirts to support your favorite team, make fun of your rival team, or boast Field of 68 catchphrases like Daddy Brad, Cussin' and Discussin', and the Star Heels. Go to www.fieldof68.shop today and enter promo code TOUCHDOWN for 20% off at checkout.